shall we start? This session does not count on the number of people, but on the seriousness and eagerness to penetrate all the superficial things that are going on around us. This world has become more and more polarized, separated, divided. I don't know whether one has asked this question, why? What happened? What is actually going on in this world? What is the source of the division, the polarization, and so on? What happened? Why this world has become like this, more and more degenerating, more and more isolated. Almost everybody is in contradiction with each other. Why this world has become so tough? What has happened? And what is going on? For anyone who is really serious, one must ask this question to oneself. Because when one is able to see what is going on, it's capable of perceiving what is going on. It's no longer a theory. It's no longer a viewpoint or an idea. It is something actual. But most of us seem to be escaping in various ways into one's own dreams, desire for fulfillment or satisfaction, or one's ambition to achieve something, to be something. So we run away. That's why we can't observe and penetrate into the chaos, the absurdities around us. So why this inquiry and exploration demands one's seriousness? Because most of us are not serious. We don't treat everything serious. Various forms of pleasure are dominating us. And everybody is chasing their own pleasure, their fulfillment. Therefore, the division becomes wider and wider. And we no longer care about each other. Because we are all running away from the chaos. At the same time, we are all creating the chaos. In the running away, the mind creates more chaos. This world becomes more and more degenerate. The existence, the idea of this, has no meaning. So it demands one's tremendous diligence and a careful penetration into various superficial things around us. We don't resist to something. We don't reject something. We don't disagree with something. We don't do that, which has no meaning. Because this world is always like this, arguing all the time. Politically, economically, there are various opinions, views. One is against another. But nothing is really solved. It demands the mind must be very silent. Therefore, energetic to penetrate all of those superficial things, to find out what is actually. Obviously, one can't depend on another to find out. One can't depend on one the other's viewpoint or theories or any ideas or philosophies to find out. It's impossible. As long as we have something inwardly as our own authority, then we get lost. And many people are very willing to be other people's authority. They are selling their books, their ideas, their views, their philosophies. But none of them bring about the clarity. So one must put aside all the authorities. And one must be alone, stand alone, to find out what is actually going on in the world. Because this observation or this exploration is no longer theoretical. It's no longer based on some ideas, thoughts. One must perceive directly. One must be highly alert to one's own environment, highly sensitive to everything around one, without being neurotic. That's very important. Because most of us seem to be rather neurotic in many different ways. And one must find out one's own approach to end all the neuroticism. But one's still very sensitive to everything around one. One is actually serious about everything. I mean, not this grim face that shows some kind of seriousness. That's not serious. I mean, the attitude is very, very passionate about finding out the truth. Very eager to find out what is going on in the world. One must be discontent with everything around one. Almost every corner of our living is full of various absurdities. As long as one is very sensitive, one must be discontent. But why this discontent die away? Is that because we are seeking pleasure from something? We tend to seek pleasure from some superficial things to fulfill ourselves. Therefore, that flame of discontent withers away. And we get trapped and lost. Can one reignite that flame of discontent? That's to say, can one not escape from anything? Can one put aside all the pleasurable things and observe? Observe this tough world. Observe the chaos, the absurdities, and the violence of human beings. Can that flame of discontent drives one to go deeper? We must make clear that discontent is not emotional. not no neurotic. It's something fundamental. It is the fundamental human perception about everything around us. Can I protect that flame?
Why would you want to?
Why would you want to what? To keep that flame?
Yes. Why is discontent a goal to strive for?
Sorry?
Why is discontent a goal to strive for?
Why does this flame go to strive for? Is that what you say?
Why is discontent something to strive for?
Strive for what?
From what I understand, this is something you would like us to do, to embrace the discontent.
No.
And to use it as a fuel to dig a little deeper.
That discontent is not emotional. It does not bring about any resistance.
But it is an opinion.
Or bring about some opinions. No, not of them. It's merely, or rather, this discontent is not something to be cultivated. It's there, but it withers away when one bury oneself into pleasure seeking, escape into various entertainment. So that flame discontent is always there, but we make it wither away, or it withers away when one escape into various pleasurable stuff. It's not that we want to to cultivate that discontent. It's not something to be cultivated, but it's something always there. But we suppress it. We bury ourselves into various escapes from the into the entertainment, pleasure, our own fulfillment, and that kind of pleasure becomes so important and dominant. Therefore, there's disconnection between, or a disconnection from that frame of discontent. When one puts aside all the pleasurable things and observe, that flame discontent is always there.
What does it tell us?
What does tell us? Tell us what?
We are sitting there without distractions.
Without distractions.
And we see lots of things, one of which is content.
Sorry?
We see lots of things.
Yeah.
And one of them is discontent.
One of them is discontent. How about the other things?
And there are two. What? It's there.
It's there. It's there.
That's it.
When we don't run away into anything, that discontent is there. Because we can perceive directly what is going on in the world, the toughness, the division, the various aggression, isolation. Can these things make one content? Or perceiving this, one feels discontent, which is something very natural. Because all those going on in the world is not normal.
Why not?
Why not?
I'm not asking for an answer on the question.
No.
But the point is, it's an assumption, it's an opinion. It's an opinion that everything going on in the world or in this room is a certain way.
Because of noise, maybe you can repeat the question, please.
I feel that the truth is there.
Yes.
It's always there.
Yes.
We might not always see it.
Yes, it's always there.
Yeah.
But can one perceive it?
We practice. We hope to be able to.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't always.
Okay. Let's find out then.
But you look at the world.
Yes.
And you make a judgment. It's not good.
Well,
or it should be different.
Let's be very cautious, man. Here, when we say this world is not normal, we don't say it's an opinion. We don't say what this world should be like. We don't say that, but just perceive it. We feel it's not normal because it's against the human perception as human beings. So this, we don't have an image about what should be like. We don't have that.
How do you come to that conclusion? What is that based upon?
Based on one's direct perception. When someone in front of me, for example, who is violent, or aggressive, or isolated, I can perceive directly that kind of neural level discomfort. And that neural level discomfort, without my opinion or judgment, is there. And when this world is like this, everything, every corner, every field is always conveying this neuron level discomfort. It's natural for one to feel that that's not normal. So it's not one's opinion about something, but there's direct contact of one's neural system with the world around one. And one is very cautious not to form any opinion based on that, because it is rather easy for one to be opinionated. But one is very cautious. Okay, I feel this neural level discomfort. I feel this abnormal, but I won't form any conclusion or opinion.
How are those not linked, the feeling and the opinion?
Sorry?
How are the feeling that you have about anything and the opinion not linked?
So that's one to compound that kind of state of mind. Can feel something directly without letting the opinions intervene or dominate. Because for most of us, it seems to be rather easy or very quick, almost immediate, when the opinion is formed. with the conclusions and emotions, feelings around it. But the speaker said that when one really go very, very deeply, the mind will change. There's still a gap when one perceives the direct neuron level discomfort and the formation of the opinions. But when one is able to be aware in that gap, opinions will not formed. So it is possible, whether it is possible or one is willing to penetrate and can come upon or contact the gap. So, which also means that one must go deeply if one wants to find out into the psyche, to understand the nature of thoughts. Perhaps most people seem to be rather difficult in separating the opinions from these dark perceptions. Therefore, they run away into the pleasure making to totally forget about this chaotic world. At the same time, they are still perpetuating and creating more chaos. Like, the people are aggressive, violent. Maybe myself are also opinionated, also violent in some way. Can one perceive directly without forming more opinions? That's to observe completely. When there's opinions, the observation cannot. Right? Because then it becomes opinion again. Can one observe, which means can one perceive directly? Can the mind be utterly sensitive about everything around one without being neurotic? Neuroticism is strongly related to opinions, right?
I don't know.
It is so. When one is opinionated, the mind is neurotic. It's the same thing. When the mind is merely dominated by thoughts, the mind is neurotic. It's there. The emotions, the feelings, the opinions, everything's involved in that neuroticism. Perhaps this divided world is the result of the collective neuroticism. Everybody is their own opinions and defending their own opinions. So this discontent is not something opinionated. It's something from one's direct perception. To just feel this neural level, this discomfort, as it is. Not running away into something comfortable, or forming an opinion about it, or judgment. Just stay with what is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Please.
Is it a relevant question to ask? Then what?
then the mind is able to observe deeper and deeper. Right? When there's opinion, one is immediately trapped by opinions. Therefore, one can't observe more. There's emotions or contradictions or conflict, preventing one from going deeper.
Then is this a desire? Is this a goal to strive for? To circle back.
When the mind can go deep, the gentleman asked, is that desire, right? Or you want to ask?
Yeah, you can, like, is it wrong to desire? Yeah, is it a desire to want that?
Joyce, what is your response to that when you hear this question from the gentleman?
Actually, I'm observing.
You can use your microphone if you want.
It's okay.
Because I can't hear you. Maybe this, yeah.
Actually, I'm just observing. So also, I'm observing the loop, the pattern in the mind that is asking this question. But I haven't seen that clearly. So from the last session and this session, it seems several questions are all related to one pattern, but I can't figure it out now. So last time we discussed judgment and facts. And this time, opinion, desire. There seems to be something related behind all these questions, but I can't see it. I can't figure it out now. So I'm still listening.
Okay, let's come back. Let's go slowly. So when the mind is observing, it can perceive naturally this neuron level discomfort, as we said a moment ago. So this neuron level discomfort is always there because the whole neuron system is in contact with the environment, outwardly and inwardly. So it's not something we are striving for or make an effort to get, right? Because it's always there. But when the mind forms an opinion or a conclusion, see what happens. The mind is into the consciousness, thoughts. Therefore, when the mind is trapped in thoughts, perception is cut off. But when one is not trapped in that, in the thoughts, in the consciousness, the mind merely perceives, observes. Everything is going on in the world is always there. So it can observe deeper and deeper. So the speaker asks, is this relevant to desire or not? Oh, the question is like this. What is desire?
May I add something?
Yes.
So from this discussion, so I remember a sentence in Tao Te Ching. It can be translated as truth depicts nature. Truth depicts nature. So each time when I have confusion, I always think of this quote. So our human being is also part of nature, and the function of neuron cells, neuron system, is also part of the nature.
Yes.
But I think the problem of human being now is thoughts are generated from the center ego, and that is the disorder. So from observation, we clear this disorder out and return back to the order, return back to the natural being, like the baby, right? 复归于婴儿
Yes.
returns to a pristine state like a baby. I wouldn't say it's a desire. I wouldn't say it's a desire. I would say it's like something to return from the unnatural to natural. I don't know whether I'm making myself clear. It's like there are some storms in the weather, and it's very concentrated. It's disorder. It has to release and back to the normal state. I would say that deep observation is a deep purification. It is what the organism, this neuron system, really needs.
So back to the question, what is desire? Desire has this feeling of wanting something, craving something, want to fulfill, want to be satisfied. For example, when I go to a shop, I notice a very beautiful shirt. So I touch it, I see it, wow, the color, the texture is splendid, wonderful. Then thoughts come along saying, I want to have it. Then that's the desire. At that moment, I get disconnected with that clothes, with that shirt. The desire, the idea of wanting to have it, to possess it, begin to operate on me. Is that so? Right?
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Merely see the beautiful shirt, touch it, look at it, and there's some kind of a neural level comfort, perhaps. It is fine, right? But when the thoughts come along, said, I want to possess it, and then this consciousness starts again. And then back to the question you asked, is this exploration relevant to the desire or not?
I think it's very subtle. To some extent, it could be a desire in self-inquiry, in the so-called spiritual exploration. People also want to understand deeper in this area. I think in that situation, that is a desire. It's very subtle. People are not seeking for a shirt, but people are seeking for deep understanding.
But it is still different from one is observing and perceiving. Do you see the difference here? So one can have this desire to understand myself deeper, But this desire is still desire. It is still different from one is perceiving and observing.
Yes. That's what I understand from your point, that you think that in the end desire is not part of the result.
So, pardon, could you repeat?
Part of what? Result?
Yeah, if the result is what you describe, so being present without opinion and judgment, whatever that may be, or I don't want to call it a goal because that already implements that there is desire.
Yeah. So you using your verse, the result perhaps is being free of desire.
Sorry?
Yeah, but
The result is being free of desire.
what I understand from her, especially your metaphor, is that it's beyond the point of being free of anything or being part of anything.
Just being free.
Being a thing.
Being a thing.
Yes.
Being nothing or being a thing.
Just be free is
Just-
a thing.
What is a thing, sir?
Everything.
Everything. Being free is a thing, or being free is the embodiment. Is the embodiment of being nothing. Because we tend to easily conceptualize anything we see. So is being free a thing, or is being free, or does being free embody being nothing?
You say again?
So is being free a thing, or does being free embody being nothing? Nothingness.
I would say the first.
Why?
Because it's a thing.
What's that thing, sir?
It's
So what do
anything you can stick an opinion to.
what?
It's a thing. Anything you can stick or associate with an opinion.
Can you put aside everything? Which we can inquire into what is being free, but
Yeah, but that's like
so get the true meaning of it. Not
being free is already.
don't think about it, sir.
Yeah, that's my point. Like that's the wrong way of thinking, right?
Just put aside. Just observe yourself. Observe all the associations with that word. Can one be free? Please go beyond the verse, as we said last session. Can one be free? Not saying that, or not merely, or not reducing being free to a thing. Can one be free? And this time we use being free to describe this. Perhaps in a few moments we will use different verse to point to the same thing. But that thing is not the thing you mean as a concept.
So, being free unknowingly, right? Being free unknowingly. So when one is truly free, one doesn't know one is free. Being free unknowingly. But when one knows, oh, I am free, one
And
is already not free.
yeah, so
Good point.
and still we can use the word being free, but sometimes it's not a thing. We can use this word, but we must put aside, go beyond it, to find out the true meaning of it. Just as Joyce said. Well,
Yeah, but you say find out the true meaning. I know these are words, and it's very difficult to talk about it without putting words on it.
but so that's why
It's
that's why we are still using the verse, right? Otherwise we can't communicate here. But the verse point to something.
that's an opinion. Otherwise, we can't communicate about it.
Be cautious, sir. Why do you call it opinion?
You are closing yourself off by that, I think. Or if I would say that, I would say you shouldn't do that because you are closing yourself. I'm not trying to insult you personally.
No.
Like you say, you have the observation, and then you have the emotion, the judgment with it. And these, like my earlier question, these are very much linked still in my mind. Apparently.
Yes. So that's why one need to find out how to
Yes.
separate them.
Yeah. So and this came up last week as well. At some point, you have to forget about these words. Like I am still holding on to them, trying to find the right one. But wherever we are going, or we want to go, what we're exploring.
So can we use
all these words are not part of that.
no part of it, but we are still using verse.
Even that is a judgment.
But we are still using verse. We are using verse as a mirror.
But are we not walking circles on a border of something by grabbing hold on these words? And when you say something like, or when I say something like, I cannot communicate with somebody else unless I use words.
We have to use verse. But one must.
No, then I would think then you're boycotting yourself. You're in the way. You're in the way of
Boycotting vote.
It's like the shirt. Like you want to own it, and then it's yours. But it's so beyond the point of the feeling or the experience that you have with the shirt. Like at some point, you need to go beyond words and in communication, in understanding being with one another.
Of course.
Sharing each other.
We can see that this way. Being. The speaker is not boycotting anything or closing himself in. Rather, the speaker is acting to be free from any entanglement with verse, with anybody.
Then why do you choose to say something like, we need to have words to communicate?
Otherwise, right.
May I interrupt? I checked the dictionary because I think there is a key word just now in the discussion, opinion.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of what is opinion? And I checked the dictionary. It's called opinion, a view or judgment formed about something, not necessarily based on fact or knowledge. So opinion is a view or judgment, not necessarily based on fact or knowledge. That is opinion. But if the observation is based on fact, depicts the fact, aligns with fact, then is that opinion or not?
Could you say again?
So opinion.
So when there's observation, and that observation is to see the truth.
Yes. Yeah. So what I want to say is, when we're talking about what is opinion, when opinion is not based on fact, it is a judgment or view. But if one's observation of this world is based on fact, so one sees the fact clearly, and one's description aligns with the fact, the truth. And then, is that still opinion or not, or just an objective description? Do I make myself clear?
Yes, I think so.
So, yeah.
Okay, then if I were to assume you know truth, then you know that fact. It already feels wrong to say no, but so you know that fact, so you can put a word on that, and it would be true. It would not be an opinion. It would be a fact.
The words are still not the truth. I would say that.
Yeah.
Even we describe the
That's
truth,
it.
but the words are still not the truth or the fact. We just described that, right?
Don't assume that the speaker knows the truth. Then that assumption can be a deception.
But if I, to understand what you're saying, if, let's say we meet Lao Tzu. Wow. We meet him at the border, and he knows the truth, right? Let's say. Then when he would say something, use words, put words on something, we know this is Can we then use those words?
Of course, we still use verse.
Are these? Let's take it back. Because what the point was, like, at what point do words become a limiting factor in your journey, in your ability to be all conscious and see truth?
It is always limited, even now.
Then why are we talking? Why are we using words?
Words have their functional purpose. Words can point to that, but words are not that. So we can use words functionally to point to that, and one can say that, then at the same time, plus put aside all the words. So
Are you sure?
I'm sure, sir.
So how does that relate to words being always limiting?
One must perceive directly, sir, the limitation of words. Just like back to the question you mentioned, and please don't assume that the speaker knows truth. Unless you see the truth, then you won't know for sure whether the speaker knows the truth. So rather, so why this conversation?
No,
Yeah, please, sir.
Again. Okay, I should not assume the speaker knows this.
Yeah, no, that's good.
But yeah, maybe it's not worth discussing this.
Maybe let me finish it first. So, like two friends conversing eagerly, deeply over various topics. We don't assume each other that okay, you know the truth, I don't know. So I come here, you teach me. Then that kind of attitude is wrong because the authority can easily come into play and make the mischief. Rather, we both inquire together, and there's no agree or disagree. Because agreeing or disagreeing is still on the level of verse, the verbal things. But at the same time, both of us are observing inwardly, outwardly, observing the reactions to the verse, to the expressions. So we, both of us, are doing our best to avoid being trapped by the expressions. At some time, both of us are using words carefully. If we have any confusion or misunderstanding, we just figure out what goes wrong and clear any misunderstanding. And then we continue to use the words properly to point to the things. And we see the thing, and the words are no longer relevant. The next time we can discuss again. Perhaps the totally different expressions are used. It doesn't matter, but still point to the same thing. But that thing is never verbal. That thing is not a verse, the language itself.
Yes. So then we both agree that, like putting the emotion on the observation, putting the words on the observation. No, okay. This we agree on, I think.
So we must observe completely, observe our reactions, our emotions, our feelings. And
but at some point, the word will be like have the same properties as the emotion, in that it will shape the experience.
so that's why one must observe very carefully. Can one use a verse without being shaped by the word? As the speaker said, it is totally possible. So we can use the words properly to point to something, but without being shaped. I mean, the experience being shaped by the verbal things.
This is not how I experience it.
But let's find out a total different experience.
Okay.
One had never experienced before. Because most of us are using words wrongly. We use words to construct something, to construct a school of thoughts, theories, viewpoints, or beliefs. And those words must shift our experience. That is what is going on in the world, in the whole world, based on the language, based on thoughts. Everybody is interpreting their own so-called experience. So there's oscillation, there's contradiction, there's separation. Because we have such a twisted relationship with language. You see our own kindness. We use a verse to create theories or beliefs or any views to shape ourselves. It is a self-enhanced loop. Right?
Yeah.
Now, can one not use the language in that way? Oh, the speaker may make it clearer. As we are speaking now, are we using the language in a different way? Or we are still using the language to create some kind of a experience shaped by the verse?
No, we are using language to communicate. And yeah. I do feel, I get moments that I feel that I'm being distracted from something else by using this word.
Because if the speaker is allowed to point out directly, perhaps you still have a lot of unexamined associations with the verse. So when you use that verse, their association and reaction immediately pop up and bring and give you the distract you. But when we examine that carefully, observe that association will naturally fade away. And that is also a huge part of the observation. Because now, for most of us in this world, the mind has been utterly entangled with language. Therefore, every time we use some word, the words always bring both emotions, feelings, reactions, which are all distractions, preventing one from communicating. So that's also something one must be very willing and eager to deal with. And obviously, this whole world, most people are trapped in the verbal expressions, in the verbal reactions. Therefore, people don't have a communication, right? Every time they use some word, the reaction immediately hijack people, and there's argument, there's quarrel. You see how easily the communication has been cut off, and most people can't listen. They merely listen to their own words, their own interpretations. And therefore, there's no possibility of communication in that way, when the mind in that disordered state. And to communicate, it demands both of us very diligently observe, not trapped by any reactions. And only in this way, we can come upon the right way of using verse language, which might be very different from the world we are living in now.
Could you say again?
So when we come upon the right way of using language, we may find it could be very different from this world we are living in now. Commercially, economically, politically, everybody, every organization using words to manipulate people, to influence people, to control people for their own purpose. That's what is going on in the world. Like, this whole election process. People keep creating various expressions of speech to deceive people. Nothing really happened. Commercially, various advertisement to trick people, to trigger people's pleasure, feelings, to buy things,
Yes, I get your point. Just I am a firm believer of my own freedom and my own choosing. And I find it difficult to talk about this because I'm a white guy in the Netherlands. So I have a very privileged life compared to other people.
Yeah.
So saying that you always have a choice is what do I know? So it's when I say like you always have a choice, it's more of a theory, or it is a theory in my opinion that I'm testing out in my real life. But it's like in 2 or 3 years, I have not found a situation where this is not true. And I find this very intriguing. And now I hear you say like there's all these things, and yes, this is true. Many people are trying to do things to every individual. But I personally have a hard time accepting that what somebody else does to me should affect me. I think that is
it's there, sir, but it depends on whether one can perceive it or not. It's not that speakers say something as something theoretical or.
Like if you say something to me,
Yeah.
It's up to me to decide
It's whether you are willing to see it, because it's there. Most people tend to not see it. They run away into some fantasies or their own pleasures, but it's always there. They are still being influenced, manipulated. And this kind of, it's very,
yeah. The effect is a choice, and it's also, I guess, it comes back to being aware that if you're aware of these things, then you can see the truth in them, or how you want to say it.
Yeah.
So that's like for me, it's always an interesting way of when I'm angry or somebody does do something to me that makes me angry, or like it's also very annoying. But it's like when I say to myself, yeah, but you have a choice. Like you have a choice to be angry about this or not. And this can get very hard.
It's very hard. What is very hard?
To test this theory that it's always my, or like in my life, that it's my choice how I feel about something that somebody else does to me.
Something not does to me, sir. It's what one does. I mean, like the politically or commercially or economically. It's the people are doing this, having their own purpose. To the consciousness of the mind. So people are influenced unconsciously. It's not to me. But the whole mind.
It depends on how conscious you are, right? Like they try. I completely agree, right? There's people, probably scientists, figuring out like how can we get this person to buy this shirt or whatever.
Yeah. But practically, for one, if one is actually serious about this topic, can one be free of any influences? So I don't think you are wrong.
That's what we're talking about, right?
Yes, we have.
To be in a state that whatever happens to you externally, that it does not influence you, pull you in any direction. Yeah, it's not hard.
So you are. I don't think you are wrong when you say you have a choice to be not angry. When you are aware that things you can really stay calm, that's not something we should deny that. But the problem is that can one be free of all the influences?
Yeah, and when you say free, you mean disconnecting the emotion and the judgment and
free of all the influences, including not only the outward influence, but also the inward, like the judgment, the feelings, the agony, the oppression, the resistance, and all that. Can I be free of all those influences? Can one's life not be dominated by all those? To me, to the speaker, it is not a choice. It's not, the speaker said that I should choose not to be influenced.
yes.
So for some very concrete things, choice is necessary. I need to buy this or that. I need to do this or that. Choice is necessary. But fundamentally, when one is very eager to find out whether it's possible to be free of all influences, it's not a choice.
What is it then?
So when one is willing to find out what whether it is possible for one to be free of all influences, outwardly and inwardly, that is not a choice for one. Because just as we said earlier, observing, perceiving directly what is going on, which is always there, it's not something one strive to do. Rather, one must make new efforts so the mind, the whole neural system can perceive. Similarly, being free of all influences is the same question or a different way of expressing it.
Yeah.
When one is able to perceive everything around one can't be influenced, isn't it?
Well, one could be, I guess.
Wait.
One,
Seriously, once the speaker said that one can't when one observes completely.
so you have the thing that happens and the influence that you used to have with it. This is how am I now, they're connected, but I come to many of these sessions and then I realize they're not connected.
When I observe what is actually taking place,
Yeah.
and I see clearly the nature of this superficial thing, in that seeing the nature, the mind is free of all influences. The speaker is speaking that way.
Yeah, I understand you.
Yeah. Can one compound it for oneself?
Sorry?
Can one compound it for oneself? Because now, if we merely listen to, when one is merely listening to this statement, that's merely an idea. Can one compound it or say, well, it is true. It's not the speaker's idea or opinion.
Well, that's for everybody to explore in their own lives.
Yeah. To find out.
Yeah.
So back to,
I hope they do.
sorry, sir?
I hope they do.
Good. Let's continue, right? Shall we? So, when one is able to perceive directly there is neural level discomfort about everything that's going on, one must also observe oneself, because maybe this neural level discomfort comes from one's own opinion, judgment, right? Resistance, and so on. So one must observe and say that it is so. When one see that, indeed, one's resistance bring about this neural level discomfort, then one simply drop that resistance, right? Simply. There's no cause. There's no drive. One just perceives the danger of that.
Well, like in this instance, I would say look at the world and then simply, it's not so simple.
Definitely not simple, sir. It depends on one's diligence. How to observe completely, not being misguided by one's emotion, opinion, or theories or ideas. And then can perceive sometimes the discomfort without forming opinions or judgment. That's a hard work, really hard work for one to do.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if it's
There's no shortcut.
sorry?
There's no shortcut.
I would say that in my experience, it is you can like I have the scissors in my hands, and it's It's right there. I can cut it. It is a shortcut, but there's not. It's always difficult to figure out like why do I want to do it. Like I know what I need to do, but I don't do it. And trying to understand that.
Sarah, maybe you can repeat that question indefinitely.
Oh, it's not a question. It's like in my personal
Yeah.
experience, I can understand what I need to do,
Mm.
and I can see that I don't want to do that, or that I've not done it yet. But understanding why I'm not doing it, why I'm not disconnecting the two, that can be very difficult.
Just could you please help me to understand what the gentleman says?
I needed to do something. One direction is I needed to do something. And one thought is I needed to do something. Another thought is I haven't done that yet. Right? I needed to do something, but I haven't done that.
Yeah.
Haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to understand why there is this conflict. Why I haven't done that? Is that the question?
It's not a question. So
No question. Your experience, and yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go slowly too.
But it's
Yeah.
you must have this, like that you know. Like an example, you bump your toe, and it hurts. But you know it's not that bad, but it still hurts. So you know, okay, I'll be fine. So it does not need to hurt. I do not need to experience this feeling as hurt. I can just move on. But it still hurts. So you know, like, okay, it's okay, I can just move on or something.
Okay. So using this example, the gentleman said that when one bumps one's toes, it's very hurt. But can I stay with that hurt and not to think about, oh yeah, I should have not that feeling. Oh, what's just stay with that.
Yeah, that's where you would want to end up. But that's, in my experience, that's not where I am. Like when I bump my toe, it hurts.
It hurts, yes.
Yes.
No,
I'm
no.
angry.
So whether
I
it's
need to disconnect that. But doing that can be very difficult. It's
But-
not, like you said, it's not that simple.
it's hard work. One must do it if you want to be free of all these problems, right? Because when you get hurt, stay with that. But why there is always psychological struggle associated with that, right? So can one just have that hurt and stay with that hurt, physical injury, without this psychological struggle? And it's back to the same question or the same thing we have been discussed about. Can one be free of all this? You get hurt, just feel it, and the body will heal it naturally, right? Even you can use some medicine, that's fine. But this psychological struggle, which seems to be rather automatic for many people, is totally unnecessary, isn't it? Because it does nothing, only bring more
Well,
suffering.
in the case of bumping my toe, he tells me, hey, you should be more careful when walking.
That's good.
Because this time it's okay, but next time it might not be.
So,
And when you are free of the connection between bumping the toe and ow, then
and then the mind will observe what happened. Why did I bump the toes? Is that because I was lacking attention, or it's something else that beyond my control? When the mind sees clearly, the mind will know what to do next time. Is it clear?
yeah, it's clear.
When the mind has no psychological struggle, when the mind is observing, oh, why did I this time bump my toes? It's because I was not in attention. I was thinking about something else, then I got this accident. Or I was in attention, but something is beyond my control. And when I see this clearly, the mind will know what to do next time. Or, in other words, this injury won't leave a mark on my mind. When the mind sees clearly what has happened.
That's an interesting thing you say.
Never leave a mark on the mind.
Then you're saying that, okay, I bumped my toe.
Yes.
And I disconnect everything, and I'm like, oh, I wasn't paying attention.
If that's the cause, you wasn't paying attention. Next time, what you do is just paying attention, not to think about, oh, I should avoid being hurt again for my toes. It's different thing. Because when you think about, okay, I should avoid bumping the toes, it's make one be away from attention, isn't it?
Yes.
And then next time, you for example, one indeed avoids pumping the toes, but bumping the head, because he was he was protecting his feet, for example, but forgetting his head.
Yeah, it's.
So the problem, I just use your example here. So what one needs to do next time is to pay attention. That matters.
Okay, so I think this is the way to put it.
Yeah.
The thing is not to pay attention next time, but to stop being distracted.
No, sir. The way to stop distraction is to be in full attention.
Yeah, that's so. You are in full attention because you were distracted by something else, and this is why you bumped your toe.
Then you are in that moment.
If you would be
yes.
Not focused on one thing, probably.
So at that time, one does not give full attention. That's why one gets distracted. But what is attention? So do you mean focus on one thing? Is that attention?
If you're focused on one thing, then it's...
Not
we had this discussion last week.
Yes. So that's...
If your attention is on one thing, and you are focused on that, then it's one thing. But if it's full attention, then of course no.
No.
And if you are in full attention, then you would not bump your toe, probably.
No.
Assuming you were.
You're in the time when the mind is very alert to everything around one. Unless there's a stone running suddenly dropping on the ground and bump the toes, that's something beyond control. That's something one is unlucky.
That's an interesting statement to test in real life.
But one can test it out in real life. For example, the speaker has been living here in Netherlands for 10 years. Every time the speaker passed the road, the speaker found out that his full attention is not enough. So the design of this road is already go beyond one's attention. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting that you picked this subject, this example.
Yeah, so it's beyond one's attention. The speaker trying his hard to pay attention. It's very difficult, very, very difficult. So, and then the speaker think maybe the design is the whole rule system is too based on the rules. People just abide rules, but people actually need the full attention. But when people see inattention, people may feel that this system is not very reasonable. Yeah.
example because it's quite interesting. So
Yeah.
I think for 2 years or so, I started this doing in the place where I live. So there's a pedestrian path, like a zebra stripes. So as a pedestrian, I have way, so I can just walk without looking. And I started to do that. I was like, yes, the rules are the rules. Everybody needs to follow the rules, and I'm just gonna walk. I'm not gonna look anymore.
Yeah.
But, well, some people that mentioned or that have seen this, they said, "Oh, that's dangerous. You shouldn't do that, right? That doesn't make sense." And I've noticed that in 2 years, it has not gone wrong. Of course, when there's a truck driving, like I hear cars driving, right?
Yeah.
So there's more to it than just looking, hey, is there a car coming? But it's remarkable that it has not gone wrong yet. And it made me wonder, like, why is this? Because sometimes I do look, and then people just drive with their cars in front of me. It's very strange. And my theory is that because I don't look at the car coming, the person in the car does not see me looking. So I think the responsibility is completely on them. Because if I look, then I see. So there's interaction. Hey, we see each other. So if I walk and he hits me, then it's not entirely his fault because I looked and, right? So I suspect that has something. This is why I can just walk the pedestrian path.
I understand, sir. Yeah. The speaker means the bicycle lane. The bicycle lane. So when the speaker crosses the bicycle lane, bike,
Oh, yeah.
the people they don't really look. Well, especially in the very busy area, and every time crossing the road demands extra attention. Sometimes we need to go hands in hands. So she sees one side, I see the other side. Okay, let's pass. Because when people drive a car, I think most people seem to be aware that car is very dangerous to pedestrians, and they must be pay attention to more than it's easier for them to pay attention than for the pedestrians. Of course, both sides need to do that together. But for the bicycle, for the bikers, and they tend to be in a different mindset. And because they are riding, they use their physical efforts a lot. So they are usually very compulsive, especially after riding a long journey. And they don't want to stop easily. They want to enjoy that kind of unstoppable.
No,
yeah.
I'm a cyclist myself, so I.
We just use example, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, but then to take it back, what you're saying is that even if you're at the best level of your full attention right now,
it still can have danger. You can get bumped by something unknowingly.
But then would you say you are not in full attention yet?
Well,
or is your full attention? Yeah.
That's something we need to examine. So, full attention does not mean that one can notice everything around one.
Okay.
Maybe we can put it in this way. Because now what we are talking about has been begun to into the field of measuring what is called full attention, what is not full. And when we're talking about that, it can be tricky and also misleading. when we try to measure the extent of the attention or the intensity of it.
Does Lao Tzu say anything about full attention and what it means?
Joyce, do you have any clue on this?
What is full attention?
In Dao Jing.
Oh. I have to check the Chinese version. Wait a moment.
Maybe we can see in this way. So when we inquire into ourselves, like sitting here, or when sitting alone in my own place, being silent, being quiet, then the mind can in full attention. But when one is really walking, one can pay attention. But being in full attention while one is walking, it's not possible. But one is paying attention, but it's not in full attention. Because when one is walking, one still have this direction where to go. So there's still consciousness activities. Or when one is really wandering without any direction, perhaps the mind can come into or being very close to the state of full attention. But when it's walking, there's still conscious activities. Where to go, how long one go, and so on. So one can pay attention, but it is very challenging to be in full attention.
Yes.
And it is still very different from when is distracting, isn't it? When is distracted by something, when is trapped in some thoughts, ideas, or thinking. So we are now measuring the extent of the intensity. One need to pay attention, and being full attention in that state of walking is difficult or nearly impossible. But still, it's different from when it's distracted by something, then for example, get hurt or get an accident. But even when it's paying attention, still when it's possible to get hurt by some other factors, and can one be with that? Can one accept this unpredictable life? One can pay attention to avoid unnecessary things that happened, but one cannot avoid 100%. And can one accept that? Can one accept that impermanence or this unpredictable state of living?
I would say that it's part of what the truth is, that something might happen to you, or something will happen to all of us. But yeah, for me personally, like I choose to not be in full attention most of the time. It's a rarity that I find myself in a situation where I have an idea of, okay, I'm now more than just focus on a single task. So for me personally, can one be, well, my ego, my desire to do things is mostly in the way, most of the time.
Yes, I understand. That's most people tend to do that. But the speaker said that it is necessary, if one is really serious, to be in full attention, to solve all the issues. And then focus on one thing won't be an issue. But if one can't solve the issues of the mind, then focusing on one thing only makes one trapped in that thing. We don't say it's wrong to focus on one thing. But the speaker said that it is necessary for one to be in full attention, to dissolve all the issues first. And without issues, the mind can focus on one thing properly, without being trapped in the bad thing. But if the mind has issues, when one focuses on one thing, and what usually happens is that one is trapped in that thing. Perhaps this world is full of specialization. Perhaps most people are trapped in the thing they are focused on. They seem to unable to be free of that. So when the mind is able to, in full attention, dissolving all the issues, focus on one thing properly is not an issue. But without full attention, without dissolving all the issues, you see, the mind becomes more and more specialized, digging deeper and deeper into one subject.
But would you say if once you have the ability to be in full attention, to be like the baby?
Yes. And then focusing on one thing will have its place in our life. But without the former, the latter will become a disaster. You see this world, how people are so specialized in something. They are trapped in their own field, their own direction, and they dig out more and more details. This over-specialized state of the mind is quite prevalent.
Sorry, but you're saying like, okay, you do all this work and you become, I don't know, you gain the skill or you calm the storm. To use. And when you're there, then you choose to do the same thing that you were doing before. When
what? When
truth. When that's the truth. Like that's the thing to do.
So maybe the speaker can express it in this way. When it's in full attention, when one dissolves one's issue, one might do something totally different. So when one is able to, in full attention, dissolving all the issues of the mind, I mean, when one is really free, one probably do something different. He or she may find that, his past specialized life has no meaning. It's a trap.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah. Totally, but there's still. I agree on that, but to me that's like. You still, I assume, even in full attention, want to eat or need to eat.
Oh yeah, of course. That's the natural neuron tendency to eat, to survive. It doesn't mean that we in full attention we stop surviving. No, that. But actually, when one is in full attention, one is able in that state, everything stays in the right place. we just when become a ordinary, I mean a normal person. The mind is simple, is innocent. There's no twisted thinking or whatsoever. There's kindness. There's openness. There's care. There's great consideration for everybody. There's tenderness, softness.
How do you know this? Where does this come from?
I'm in that state, sir. So I'm not talking about anything theoretical. I'm talking about something factual. And there's great understanding for everybody. Therefore, I feel connected with everybody, though not everybody does feel that. They doesn't feel that, but it doesn't matter. So the mind, the whole body, the whole neural system respond to people's aggressiveness with goodness, respond to people's violence with goodness.
It would be interesting to see that in practice. But that might be a cruel thing to say.
So it's very cruel. When one is very violent. But the speaker finds that when in facing the other people's violence, responding to that with goodness is the only way to end the violence. Otherwise, violence against violence means more violence. It is very, very cruel, indeed. Very difficult when people's violence, bring about such a strong neural level discomfort.
Yeah.
But the mind still observes and then never yield to the thoughts formed based on this neural level discomfort.
Yeah, that was in one of the quotes, right?
Yes.
So I was curious then.
To one who is showing goodness, right? This one. This one.
Yeah, but the one was one that actually mentioned that
It's the last one.
Felt.
Nothing in the world is as soft and pliable as water, and nothing can compete with water in breaking through those who keep exerting their will. Because is that paragraph?
Yeah, the mind is aware of its violence and stays tender, which embodies the vastness of a mind living in truth. In truth, life is virtuous, and the mind returns to a pristine state like a baby.
Yes.
So
Which, yeah.
The mind is aware of its violence.
Yes.
So it's a choice not to act upon it.
Yeah, you can put it in that way, yes.
How would you put it?
Huh?
How would you put it?
You can put it in that way. Yeah, you use the choice. Yeah, I think Yeah, if you when the mind aware the violence, as you said, as a choice, you can know when is not violent, when should not be violent.
Yeah, okay, but this says there is still this violence. There is still violence.
So that's why the mind responds without violence.
And I think that's a topic we will talk in the following sessions. Also, in the booklet, there is a chapter about how to deal with violence. It's also a key message in Dr. Ching. The violence is still there. Well, you have to take action.
Of course.
For your self-security, or you have to take action.
So this world is full of violence, and the first thing, one must be free of violence. The second thing, when the mind is free of violence, one can do something about the violence.
So living in this violent world, I think in Dr. Ching, Lao Tzu has several quotes on this topic, how to deal with violence.
Yeah. This I understand. When there's no alternative and force has to be used, it is only used to achieve the necessary result.
Yes.
Not to flex muscles or to show self-importance.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll have to think about these.
I think it's both very important, right? So when in facing other people's violence, the mind must be free of violence, but one must take actions necessarily to respond to that. It's not to flex the muscles or show the importance, but like when somebody is using weapons to attack, then one must defend it. Otherwise, one will be annihilated by the other.
At that time, there is no choice.
No choice.
The body reacts unknowingly. The body has its intelligence to protect itself. That's not a choice anymore.
Not a choice anymore. That's it. I can't say, for example, if I respond to that violence with necessary violence, I'm not violent actually, but I have to respond to that in a way to counteract. Because to deliver the message to the other side. But it's something I have to do. It's not I need to do, or I must to do, or I choose to do. It's something I have to respond. But I don't want to be over the top or excessive. Just properly deliver the message.
Yeah, well, the thing, it has two sides, right? You can overreact and you can also underreact. And I think, well, both are difficult.
So don't think about, or we can be very cautious think about overreact or underreact. Because when we think about overreact or underreact, we are in a state of measuring.
Yeah, I agree.
In that measuring, we are distracted.
But it's very
Act, stay unknown. Stay unknown, act. Don't measure. Because we never know what is over or what is under. Just stay unknown and act, stay unknown.
Yeah, I guess in truth, you get what you say. That doesn't really rhyme to me. It doesn't really rhyme with like there is violence, but you stay tender.
Psychologically, mentally.
Yeah, but that already feels like.
And
then would you translate it as there is anger, but stays tender? Like that's.
So the mind is aware it's violence. And stay tender means that end the violence. So, for example, in facing other people's violence, for example, now I had to respond to their violence, and I feel it's very dangerous because I had to be in a state of violence to respond to that. But the mind feel that he must stay tender. So in that situation, the whole intelligence of the neuron system will figure out the right act, the right action to respond without thinking about measuring whether it's over or under.
Yeah. It's like you could probably spend multiple lifetimes on this point in itself to figure out what it means and what it means in real life and to what it applies.
Don't try to make efforts to figure out. Just apply it to your life, to one's life. So, for example, when the mind realizes or is aware that it is angry, what it means to be, what does it mean? What does it mean by saying stay tender?
I would say stay flexible. Be aware that you're not rigid, so you're not.
So maybe
you are in a situation. You need to react in a certain way, and then it's very easy to overreact in that way to cause more harm than necessary.
Of course, So when the mind realizes that, okay, it is in a state of anger, what does it mean by saying stay tender? It means simply be with the anger and doing nothing. So in that state, there's no any psychological struggle, right? Because one simply stay with that anger, doing nothing. And then the whole neural system dissolves that anger. And then everything comes back normal. Then one needs to figure out how to respond to that violence. Note when one's in a state of anger, that state is not tender. And that anger can propel various overreactions. But can one be aware of the anger and do nothing, and that neuron system dissolve the anger? Then that's the tenderness.
I'm not sure that's true for everybody, that it dissolves. It might be possible too, but...
Because most people never examines what is anger. They never deal with that in life. As we said earlier in the session, people are always escaping. They never deal with anger or any other emotion, at least, because they don't know how. So when they have anger, the anger immediately dominating us, dominating people to do various mischiefs. It's rare for one to say, all right, I need to find out what is anger and deal with it. Most people don't do that. Because they don't know how to deal with the anger. They think they always need to do something about it, but actually, just stay with it and do nothing. And most people don't have the patience to do that. They always want to do something which is based on anger. You see? But simply stay with anger and go through it, doing nothing. That's actually the essence of non-doing found Lao Tzu. That's it.
Cico, can we say anger is the reaction to the violence, right? Violence and reaction is anger. So when the mind is in full attention, the mind observes the whole dynamics of the movement of thoughts, violence and its reaction, anger. The mind is fully aware of every movement of thought. So when one is facing violence, and when the first thought of reaction of that anger appears, the mind is capable of being aware of that, and then the anger stops there. It's just like a little spark. It doesn't develop into a big fire.
A flame.
Can we say that? When the mind is in full attention, the mind can be aware of the first thought of anger. And then the mind won't be hijacked by the anger.
So one must find out, as Joyce says, what is anger? What is the source of the anger? And when one's in anger, what the mind is going through? One must be able to observe all of this. Thoughts, reactions, well, they are in the same field. Bring the state of anger. When one is in the anger, there's various compulsions. Emotions. Can one simply stay with that? Means observe all the movement of thoughts and doing nothing.
Yeah, that seems like a good thing. That's not what I read in this. This kind of reads like the mind is aware of violence and stays standard.
And there is another sentence.
So that's why I said we need to have at least conversation to go deep, because when we merely translate the sentence,
silence, 秩序及守静笃. In full attention, the mind empties its consciousness to the utmost. Can see everything develops, flourishes and dies, which is the essence of non-doing. Just like anger, the mind can see the anger develops, flourishes, and
Dies.
which is the essence of non-doing. I think this is cause exactly response what we are talking about.
Yeah.
So that's why, sir, please don't.
Sorry, we can still talk for a while,
Yeah.
and I'm going to put this up because.
That's why, sir, we should not only look at one sentence because the information is not enough, and we need to read the whole book. Or when you are here, we have this dialogue. We can go deeply to expand what the law is talking about. Yeah. So everything is total, it's all round. It's very difficult or impossible to make clear in one sentence. Like here, the mind is aware, its violence is still tender. But it has a lot of meanings behind it. And just as Joyce points, we can find the meaning in the other sentences.
I think that's the that is the charming of the 道德经的这个魅力，还是 charming of 道德经。So it has a consistent, coherent principle.
Across all the chapters.
Yes, it's a whole. It's complete.
And similarly, so as we have this dialogue, this whole conversation in different topics also has this inherency, right? To point to something which is not very difficult to simplify in one or two sentences, but it's there.
It's truly challenging to deal with violence. But what we are talking about here is absolutely practical, plausible.
It's down to earth, practical.
Because recently we are dealing with violence recently, and we are applying this truth.
Applying truth to every action we take. And so I think we all know that the society is rather violent. Everybody is living in a rather violent way. And one need to, if one is eager, one need to end one's own violence by this complete observation. And in that state, the mind has the intelligence to figure out how to deal with violence from all sources. And when the mind is in the full attention, when the mind is free of violence, the mind is compassionate. With compassion, also means with intelligence, the mind will act properly, especially to counteract and respond to various violences in life. Okay, so let's finish today's session, and then we can have more in the future if you are still able to come. Any more things to speak or share?
No, I want to savor your